Good afternoon, everybody, or should I say good evening. Do you recognise that lady there on the left? Well, that was me, taken exactly 12 months ago, in fact this time last year. Heavily overweight and in need of transformation. 14 years ago, that was Bealtaine Cottage. Abandoned, forlorn little cottage, north-facing land, poor, designated as poor, and quite bereft looking. Nobody really wanted that cottage and 3 acres. It had been on the market for quite some time. So, trusting in Mother Earth and trusting that if I worked hard enough I could transform the land, against all the advice, against all the rational horticulture expertise. Well, you know how that story ends. You don't know how this story ends? Maybe you do if you've been following me on Facebook or Twitter, and just recently on the website. So that was me, and I'm going to show you how, through the same trust and belief in the power of the transforming energy that is all around, that is Mother Earth. I went down as close to the earth as I could go. And on March the 19th, I decided I was just going to eat nothing but plants. Actually, I drank nothing but plants, but in a way I ate them. Now I'm eating nothing but plants, whole food plants. So I'll show you what's happened to me. Jack knows what's happened to me. Here we are. That's me. 60 pounds lighter, and feeling the lightness of every one of those pounds gone. That's me. Still a few pounds to go. So this little video is about transformation, and it's about what I have always believed in. I've always believed that everything is possible, that we only have to begin to imagine it, that we only have to begin to take it into our minds and hold it there and nurture it and believe in it for change to happen. Now the word change is a very important word in all of this, because transformation and change are both coming from the same base. And some years ago, some say it was around the year 2000, some say it was around the year 2012, we began to enter the age of Aquarius. If you look at the precession of the equinoxes and you begin to see how the astrology and astrological aspects of the energy system works. I say astrology because people talk about astrology in terms of the astrological information that they can garner, that they can derive. But for 2,000 years, in fact for the past 2,000 years, up to about, and it's very rough figures, the year 2000, we were living in the age of Pisces. The age of Aquarius has got a signature word attached to it, and that word is change. So how do I understand this? How do I interpret it? How do I begin to make sense of this? Well, when I started the Bealtaine project in the year 2004, it did seem an impossible task. Not to me, but it did seem an impossible task for most rational people, I suppose you'd call them. Maybe I was irrational. Jack, come on. I'm just going to walk as I talk because I find I can concentrate better. So when I took the project on, it did seem impossible. It seemed an impossible task. Because added to all this was the fact that I had no income to speak of. I had no money, I had no savings. So I couldn't employ people to help me, except for the initial employment of the digger driver. And John was here for a week. So you know how the story goes. And you can watch that video, which has had several 100,000 hits. And that was the culmination of 13 years of allowing the energy to come out. Now we are living in quite desperate times in terms of the powerlessness that people feel. And what I want to say to you is, please look at the evidence in front of your eyes. I have been showing the evidence of Bealtaine Cottage to anyone who would care to look or anyone who would care to listen over these past 14 years. And I reached a point where I felt that I had done or sort of completed my task. In many ways I really felt I had completed my task. I had reached a certain point where I was almost worthy of having some of that energy just for myself, for my own human entity, this vehicle that carries my consciousness. And so I asked Mother Earth to help me, to guide me, to give me the strength, to give me the positivity, to let me have some of that energy, to let me share in some of the wonderful energy that she's put out. Now, earlier on I put a little video out about the stone circle and about wanting to open up the stone circle for everyone who feels that they need to have a place, a sacred space where a little dream of theirs could rest and begin to work and begin to manifest. And if you look in the comments underneath that video, there was a fantastic comment left by Dwayne. Thank you so much, Dwayne. You are so articulate in being able to understand, feel, intuit the things that I want to say. So thank you. That's a fantastic comment, and I urge anyone listening to this to read that comment, because that explains what I feel is happening and what I feel is possible. So I just want to say to all of you that regardless of what's happening in the outside world with all these, I don't want to bring any of that negativity in here, but you know what I'm talking about. And regardless of all that negative energy, we have the power. If our hearts are true, if we have a little bit of humility, a little bit of readiness to touch base with Mother Earth, we can have some of that energy too. Because it's there. It's there. It's there, and it's real, and it's powerful, and it's healing. And for too long, we have been told continuously just to, look somewhere else. Look up in the sky. Look over at your neighbour. Look, down at your feet. But never to really look at her and to endeavour to make that relationship with her. And that's all that I've been about over these past 14 years. And I have been so amazed at how easy this has been for me. My personal transformation. It's been so easy. And that, to me, is amazing. Because yes, I've done diets before and I've lost weight and then piled it all back on. I want to share something with you. I finished the juice fast on the 26th of June. So that was Tuesday of last week. I've just come back from my first weekend away, eating normally, and I'm eating a whole food plant-based diet. So I'm staying very, very close to Mother Earth. I've just come back and I've actually lost more weight. Because of course, again, those of you who've been following me will know I have another, I think it's about 16 pounds now. But I have a wee bit more to lose to get into the healthy BMI spectrum. And thank you if you think that I'm slim enough, but I do actually have some stomach fat that I just need to pare down a little. But I've come back from my first weekend away, and any time that I meet up with friends or family, I've always been so used to celebrating with food. And when I start, I'll eat large amounts of stuff which is not the best for my health. But this weekend, it was as though someone had actually just switched off my brain when it came to food. I didn't actually feel like going down that road, going down that route. It's quite a self-destructive one. So I really do feel renewed and incredibly confident. And not confident in an arrogant way, but confident that it's not going to be a big problem anymore. that if I just stay eating this whole food plant-based diet, well, it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle, then there's absolutely nothing to concern myself with. It's so lovely and cool just walking through this woodland. And out there, past the trees and past Bealtaine, it's scorchingly hot. And in here it's cool and comforting and nurturing. And even the pond has stayed in, as they say. Can you see it through there? So there we go. There we have it. I'll go around this way now. It is amazing. It's an amazing journey that I've been on these past 14 years. And now I feel that there's more change coming. And a lot of that change now is to do with the wider world. And that's why I've made the video earlier about inviting you in. It's like the rainforest down here. It's actually like the rainforest. From monoculture land to rainforest in the west of Ireland. So don't ever give up. Believe in the power of transformation, because the energy that's been fed from the universe, from the multiverse, but more especially from the earth itself, the energy that's been fed from the earth herself out into space and coming back at us is the energy of change. Now, we can harness that energy. The energy has been harnessed here at Bealtaine, and it's been harnessed even before I could articulate any of this. It makes sense on reflection. When I was in the middle of it, I didn't even think about it. I just got on with it. And this is what's happened as well now since the 19th of March, when I began the transformation of my own body. After the first few days, I was hardly thinking about it. I was just getting on with it. And now, a 106 days later, it seems as though this is how I've always been. So the power of transformation. I think if humankind realised how much power they were privy to, how much power was accessible to them, the world would change very, very quickly. But in the meantime, I'm holding this space, and I'm holding the space open for you too. And for me, it's a sacred space. So that's what I'm doing. I'm holding the space. And everyone who sends a little piece of their heart in that writing, I promise you I will put every one of those prayers or wishes or hopes or dreams or names or whatever beautiful thing it is, I will hang it in the stone circle. We'll see how quickly all that fills up. I think it's going to look beautiful. So blessings to you all. Blessings of light and energy and can do. And I hope will do. There's my poppies today, aren't they beautiful? And the roses, and the trees, and the chimes, and the honeysuckle, and the woodland, and the paths, the endless paths. Blessings to you all.